Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 19th day of February. Got a great show with you on for tonight. Hopefully, the Mad New Yorker will be here shortly. We'll talk about this week's biggest stories in and around the wide world of sports here. Kind of recap some of the takes that we've had this week. Uh, Quarterbacks that are undervalued and whatnot coming up in this year's NFL draft. And listen, Adam Silver said something today, made a statement today that there will be changes in the to prevent in the NBA rulebook to prevent tanking. So they've taken it serious. They have heard the critics, not just media, but you got former owners, you've got longtime journalists, you've got former coaches talking about it. It's turned into a big thing, and that's a good thing. The noise is loud enough for there to be some particular change. So stand by. We'll take our first and only break, and I'll be back here momentarily, hopefully with the Mad New Yorker, and we'll hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. Alrighty then, I'm back here live. I'm looking right now to see exactly what was said here by Adam Silver, there, the commissioner of the NBA. He basically saying, "Listen, we're going to do something about this." There's a lot of chiming in from reporters about, well, the flip side is, how else you going to get better? There's got to be some adjustments to the rules where teams can get off contracts. So that's going to be the big $64,000 dilemma. The $64,000 question is, how do you get off these aprons and all that stuff? So there is the Mad New Yorker. We'll bring him in here. And hey,
Carl, what up?
Did you get the StreamYard?
Yeah, I got everything in. I was working on a background issue, and I just chose this one to enter.
Yeah. You and Jamie Pags look like you're staying at the same house there. I hope you guys aren't doing any infighting. You being a Giants fan and him being an Eagles fan.
No fighting, man. Now, I was looking to see how it works, and I'm thinking about uploading something different. So
yeah, well, I think part of this is free if you're not going to do a lot of hours. But if you're going to do the hours like I'm doing, it's like $800 something bucks a year. You pay it one time. But you know me, I'm fully invested, and this thing's a company, so I'm okay with it. Kudos, man! I saw you put a big post about the. I should have shared it. I should have shared it about the Giants and the Jets and your outcomes. So yeah, you're turning into a real analyst here, brother.
Man, I just posted that a couple of days ago. I'm going to work on the hiring of both camps, the other coaches, and I'm going to give the down and the dirty on both teams. Okay. For the football teams here in New York, and then I'm also working on the baseball teams right now. So it's a good time of the year to be putting everything together, and I wanted to put it out on paper somewhere, post it so that people won't think that I was making things up, So
what a time to be alive.
It's busy, man. It's a busy time of year.
Yeah. Biggest story of the week. is this NBA tanking story. Adam Silver. I mean, there's so much that's come about it this week. We're talking Mark Cuban, former coaches. Stan Van Gundy spoke out about it. David Aldridge, a long-time NBA reporter going back to our childhood. That's how long he's been around, since 91. Says they should do away with the draft and to prevent this taking. It's very embarrassing. So Adam Silver has come out today and said, we're going to change this for next season. There's a lot of different ideas being thrown out there. What's your take on it? And then I'll kind of give you some little feedback of what's, the takes I've heard and said that possibly could happen.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are talking about that. NBA having issues again with fan base and people. A lot of people complain about the prices, about not seeing some of these players. A lot of things going on in the NBA. And the thing about tanking is that it's I feel like it's one of those things that made it come together moment. And it's like, you know what? Let's try to take care of one thing at a time, just to get the fans that are in an uproar calm. You got to throw something at the fans because they want their teams to be competitive. They're paying higher ticket prices than they have been in the past few years for what you get for your ticket price. I'm not sure if that's something that
that's funny you mentioned that, because that's what Mark Cuban said. People shouldn't really worry about tanking too much. That's how they got Luka Doncic. He says we should worry about the fan experience because of the cost and make it more entertaining around the game itself. I didn't necessarily there's some truth to it. I didn't like all of that take. Fans like to see winners. Right.
So I'm going to say this, and I know people don't like when I say this, and I've been saying it since I've been talking on podcasts and with Keith and even with everybody. I feel like in the United States, it's time for our teams to have seasons, cut the season in half, make it 2 seasons per year. You can still have the same amount of games, just make it 2 seasons, and then you'll have, I think the players will be better, more opportunity to pick up better players. You can, and then also create a league for every a second division, every league. So that way, it just seems like by the time some of these players are in playoff mode, they either tired out, they're hurt, they just came back from an injury, so they're not going to play like 100%. It's always you don't get the that whole athlete 100% that you want all the time. And I feel that if you cut the seasons and make them either 2 seasons, cut the schedule in half and make it season 1 and season 2, I think you'll have it, and it'll be more exciting. You move the players around if they want to move around, and you're not going to be stuck with these crazy contracts that they have. You're not forced to cut players or forced trades that you don't want. So everybody will just have in basketball it'd be a fall season and a winter season, and that's it. And then you have the summer off. And it just make it simple, man, and make it better for the fans, make it better for the community. You'll go out there and you can even promote basketball more during the summertime.
During the summertime, because you don't want to compete with the NFL.
That's right. So
put it in the summertime, you mean?
Put it in. Yeah, I mean, look, if you want to make it summer and fall, fine. If you want to make it winter and spring, fine. However you want to make it, but you're gonna get about 110 games if you're in the playoffs in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of games, and to watch and then to be a fan and to watch all that. We watching this because it's part of what we like to do, and we have to know this information. It's a lot, and just to sit there and say you watch half a game is a lot. To watch the whole game is a lot. It's very exhausting, and then you got to and that's just one game. You're talking about an average of 4 to 6 games in the night. I try to catch 2, and I'm killing myself, man. And it's usually New York teams, but whatever. Or the team that I feel like might have a playoff opportunity, I watch their game, depending on how it is, because nobody wants to watch the Nets right now. But so it's a lot for a fan. It's a lot for the player themselves, and you just make it easy.
How do you prevent tanking, dude? I mean,
say what?
You're talking about getting the fan experience with getting a better product, and you're right. The whole onslaught is coming off. I think there's so much teeing off on the NBA because it's just been bowling over for a number of years. Load management, tanking. You got players. There was a college player the other day, last night from Kansas, checking himself out of the game. It's too much of a players' league. You got coaches wanting to lecture people on politics and stuff. You got, I mean, it's starting to get away from just good, hardcore, competitive basketball, and it's starting to bowl over where, why are you paying these guys this amount of money,
right,
to do all this? And I think he's finally hearing the heat, the commissioner. A lot of these owners are just absent owners. They don't really care. They're not like Dr. West or is that his name? The guy that used to own the Lakers. What's his? Is Dr. West?
No, it was what's his name? When the daughter owns it.
Jenny, Dr. Buss. Excuse me.
Buss.
Jerry West was a general manager.
Right.
Yeah, it's not passionate owners like Cuban needs to find a way to get buy his team back, and it looks like he's not. Now, I had a feeling that was going to be a bad move when he did that. But guys that are spoken like the NFL owners, you got Jerry Jones, you got Rob, they're outspoken. They're like, "Hey, this is messed up. We got to fix this." I think it's a lot of tech guys that own these NBA teams. They're younger guys. They're real passive. And they're just like, whatever. And the NBA's kind of running amok right now, if you ask me.
And if you see some of these interim type of leagues, they get a lot of traction because you don't have to be fully vested in a whole 4, 5 months, 6 months of a year in watching the whole league play out into the playoffs. Like the 3-on-3 basketball is kind of exciting. It's gotten a lot of
better product right now.
Product right, so right now. You're talking about not me, but you're talking about now younger people that they just not into the game as much viewing wise, and if you're catering to viewership, and viewership is where you're getting your numbers, and your numbers aren't looking right, then you got to do something, and the league can do something. I mean, look, if you told a player that they contracted for 50 games, and you're not going to get 10 million, but you're going to get 3 million, and you can literally get almost 20 million if you play in 2 years you play four seasons, or you could play 3 seasons, take a season off, maybe go to Europe, maybe just take the whole season off, do whatever you want to do. Maybe you want to do acting, whatever. Maybe your body needs rest. Whatever, instead of this load management crap, do it, you have that option, and make it where it's also something for the player. Like if you're catering to the players, you might as well make it something that they can do. Don't make it something that they can't. Don't add more games to the season, making the playoffs further and further in the summertime. Holy mackerel! Viewership it's killing me.
This was not the case then. I think, and even early 2000s, when David Stern was a commissioner, because he says, "Hey, you're paid to play. You're paid to play. Show up and play. Don't be out at the nightclub all night. Come up in here hungover, trying to load management. You're paid to play. And none of this checking out. You got to play if you're feeling bad. We'll put you in IVs. Jordan had the flu game.
Right.
That's what Silver is a little bit too like Howard would say, ice cream for breakfast kind of dad, and he's starting to hear it now. He's starting to hear the noise. He's somewhat proactive.
Right. But hear me out. And this is why I think breaking up the league into different seasons will be more helpful than anything else. Is that if you're a team and you don't want to pay these players through the union, or what the union does for when they get out of the league, all these dues that they, like all these insurances and stuff like that, make it easy on them. You literally putting less stress on the body if a team is playing less than 40 games.
Kind of
right?
like a college schedule. You
Look,
turn tanking into more pandering to the players. I mean, listen, I want them to be healthy too. I don't think they should ever play back to backs. I've said that for years because I used to play fantasy. I could tell the product is just not quite as good for the fan base. And hey, it's a fatigue, man. If you're in a plus the pace is higher now. It's a quicker pace now, so that does help your point. Do you think they should do away with um, the draft overall, or is that too much of an extreme move to do?
my thing is this, you know, and the NBA is a little bit different than the NFL because there are less people play on a team.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of great players that never make it and get drafted in the NBA, and they're playing in Europe and different places. But like you have a structure. You stay. That's something exciting for a college player coming out to the NBA, and it's something exciting for the fans. I wouldn't do away with it, but it does have to be structured different to where, you know, could you imagine if there was a draft, 2 drafts a year?
Yeah.
You know, that would
well,
definitely make.
So you're saying you would. This is what Keith said. Keith Engel had him on last night. He says to prevent tanking, have the team with the best record that did not make the playoffs. That team would get the number 1 pick. You know, he didn't go on with the rest of it. Like I guess everybody else would have the lottery system, but that would be interesting. There was a reporter from the Athletic, I can't remember his name, but he says we'll just go back to the model they had back in the early 90s where Orlando Magic they hit the lottery twice, two years in a row, because everybody that did not make the playoffs gets the equal opportunity
to get
the first overall pick.
Right.
After the Shaq and the Penny Hardaway thing, they changed it. They shouldn't have done that. That was overreaction. It was just a luck, man. It was dumb luck, you know? So I'm okay with that potential. The Keith idea is on the table for me. The old model's on the table for me. But here's my thing. If they did want to stop the draft all around, you would have to wait a few years so everybody can get compensated for their trades that they made for players. So those teams can get those draft for, you know, the Mavs can get their first round pick from the Luka trade, for example. And my thing would be have 2 separate caps. You have a rookie salary cap. In other words, one team can't just get all the best players every single year. You know, you would be maxed out on that rookie cap per se. You might be able to get Cooper Flagg one year, but you can't get Wembanyama the next. So because the rookie cap would be jacked up, so you need some kind of depth there. And then you have your regular salary cap for everybody else. So I think that would be an interesting way, and then maybe test it for 4 or 5 years. I'm talking about no drafting at all. Just test it. I think that would be interesting. I tell you what, it would put some hype on the NBA, kind of like MLB got hype from the pitch clock and eliminating shifting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a lot of things. Look, the most important thing that us fans, the newer fans, they want change to work in their favor. The older fans are like, well, Michael Jordan played 140 games and, you know, he got 6 championships, and Stockton playing Charles Barkley. Everybody talking, but it was different, man.
82 games, yeah.
Those are different times. And what we're talking about now is you don't see that many guys overweight and not even been working out in the NBA. You don't see that many guys. Like in the 80s and 90s, there was guys that would show up after, like you said, after they came from the club and it was drunk and it was on the court. And
do that now.
I mean, but you're not in the gym you're in the gym at least 4 days a week. These guys back in the day when we were watching ball, the only gym they saw were the fact that they went to the basketball game to play the basketball game, and that's the gym they saw. They wasn't in the weight.
I don't know if all that's true. I mean, I think possibly it's just the pace was slower, man. And it was
just a different time, different game, different players. However you want to call it, but like the crowd, the demographic now is, you know, instant gratification. I want to watch and I want my team to be a winner. Look, not taking away the draft is not going to help anything. And the realization is this: we had a team in Sacramento a few years back. They had about top 5 picks, maybe like 3 or 4 years in a row, and every one of those guys are not even on the team anymore, right?
Yeah.
You had Buddy Hield, you had Sabonis, you had
Sabonis. I think he's still on there.
Oh, you had a couple.
But they had another player that I forgot his name too, but he ended up going to the San Antonio.
Right, and even Halliburton. It wasn't Halliburton on the Kings.
Yeah, he ended up getting traded. Yeah,
he ended up getting traded. See, so
Sabonis, he was traded for Sabonis. That's what that was.
Right. So you see, like this team, Sacramento, they had all the opportunity in the world. I would say they were the Magic of back in the day when they had those 3 rookies that they were able to have in less than 4 years. But unlike the Magic, they could not get over the hump. They could not build anything together, and they didn't even leave a structure to build off and play. So
yeah,
even if you get drafts, it doesn't mean you're going to win. It doesn't mean that you get the best players, because even if you got all the best players together on a team as a young core, it doesn't equate to a championship. So
yeah,
anybody and thinks, oh well, this team had the best opportunities. Yeah, but if the team doesn't win a championship with all those guys, it doesn't. That's like you said, it's just luck. At the end of the day, it's just luck.
Well, a lot of it is. I mean,
and talking about the Sacramento team, they even fired a coach, trying to make sure that
Mike Brown was fired.
Yeah.
They had their shot a few years ago, and quite frankly, they should have won that game 7 over there.
But we sit here and talk about, oh well, these teams should get an opportunity to get a draft pick and this and that. Sacramento is maybe in our generation now that everybody's watching after COVID, the best example of just because you draft 3, 4, 5 years in a row in the top 5 doesn't guarantee you a championship, or even in the top 15 or 20, whatever it is, because some of those guys were not drafted in the top 10, but they were drafted in the top 20. So it doesn't. It's just like these people and NFL fans like, oh well, we should be drafting players and look at Kansas City, they got 40 something drafts, and like, Kansas City didn't win a championship this year. So it doesn't matter who you're drafting. What matters the most is being able to be competitive and have depth on your team and build from there. Everything else, like you said, it comes out when you play on the field or on the basketball court. And to be honest with you, changing anything at this moment just to change it, I don't think it's going to help the game. You have to change more.
Well, there's always going to be having. Some teams just work harder. Sam Presti's going to work harder. Danny Ainge, those guys.
But what if it's the player?
Going to work harder.
What if it's the player? What if the player has been injured in college and in high school, and then he gets drafted NBA and it doesn't work out? What happened to Mr. Morrison? He got hurt. He's one of the best scorers in college basketball.
For him to take off. He was drafting when we were in college.
Like this, and he did actually win a championship with the Lakers. So
yeah. Anyways, time to move on. Dolphins. I think we talked about this the other day, but now they've cut Tyreek Hill. They've cut Bradley Chubb. There's been talk about Tua's contract. If you cut Tua, it's $90 million in dead cap. If you keep Tua, you got about 54 you got to pay this year. My sense is they're going to have to just keep him and just let it and draft another quarterback. What do you do with Tua? I say draft one of these quarterbacks that's going to be a bargain pick. I talked about this yesterday with Keith Engel. Remember at the beginning of last year when we talked about the opening season in college football that Cade Klubnik from Clemson and Garrett Nussmeier are going to be possibly the top 1-2 pick, or at least first-round picks coming up in April. Now these guys are potentially day 3 picks, along with Drew Aller, who I was never really high on, but he was talked about as a first-round pick as well, the Penn State quarterback. Kind of reminds me of J.J. McCarthy. He don't throw enough for me. But anyways, can you see one of those 2 guys possibly going in there competing with Tua, having like a Cleveland Browns situation where you got like 3 or 4 quarterbacks with Quinn Ewers there. How do you think they're going to handle this situation down in Miami, man?
Well, if I'm in Miami and I'm the GM, I'll just call up Arizona and be like, let's do it 1-for-1. I'll take Kyler and you can take Tua.
You take your short quarterback, I'll take my short quarterback.
Yeah, because
because
all you're working on now is contracts at the end of the day. You're just trying to push off a contract off your payload. So, and it doesn't matter if they pick a quarterback or not because they are not deep enough in offense, to the worst thing to do is pick a quarterback that has no experience, and you got these guys on offense that, that can maybe move the ball, but then you can't move the ball because your quarterback's so fresh off a Team Spirit movie, man. Come on. Like, on Miami, I don't make any moves to draft a quarterback right now. I'll just stay still and then wait for the next 2 seasons to pass and see what these guys come out of it.
You roll with Tua?
No, I'll try. Like I said, I'll call Arizona and be like, let's do a 1-for-1.
What if Arizona says, "No, we're not going to do that"?
Well, they don't got an option. Arizona has no option because they're not. If they lose Kyler Murray, then they got to get another quarterback, and who else are they going to get? And still have to pay the back of that contract for Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
So you just pin them against the wall. That's it. You say, listen, let's help each other out, and then in the draft you could try to make up for that because they didn't look. Miami's not getting money back for Chubb. They're not getting anything back for who is this other guy? Tyreek Hill. So you got to go somewhere or another. You have to go positive on your payroll, man. Like
$54 million if you cut Kyler Murray. His is not as bad as Tua's is really bad.
Yeah, but
$52 million if you keep him. I mean, Kyler Murray could simply get. Maybe he gets dealt to like a Pittsburgh or your Jet team.
What do you pay? What are you thinking he's going to get? Maybe a year. I think he's slated to get what, $15 million or something like that minimum.
What do you mean?
What's his minimum for signing him as a quarterback? 15.
Oh, the cap hit is. I don't know what his salary is, but I know his cap hit's in the 50s.
No, but that's because he's
my thing is, just let him go out, battle it out, and then you could start over, or you could just cut Tua, take the $90 million. See, they tanked to get Tua. Right. And one of the arguments is Flores wanted Joe Burrow, the general manager wanted Tua. They couldn't get to Burrow because they drafted 5th, and the owner supposedly was mad because Flores was winning games, and they wanted to tank all the way to get the number 1 overall pick. Remember, they got like the 5th pick that took Tua. So Kyler Murray's $36.8 million. These guys may end up keeping these guys. You never know.
Because it's too much money on the table, bro. It's too much, and it's like,
right.
And at the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to be competitive, and they're not competitive type of quarterbacks, but if you get Kyler Murray, you're getting a younger version of Tua without the concussions.
He's a faster version. He's not as accurate. He's not as consistent as a passer.
I mean, was Tua consistent? He had like the most interceptions last year, didn't he?
I don't necessarily know that. I think that I have to look and see.
He's last year, the year before, he had most interceptions. He had more interceptions than he had touchdowns.
The problem too is he can't get away from the pass rush. You have to get him with the ideal offense. He would be good in like Atlanta or something, but Atlanta still want to try to deal with Penix. Maybe a wild card would be like the Colts because it's an indoor team. And I don't know if they're going to sign back Daniel Jones or not. Daniel Jones wants a big bunch of money. He's another guy I can't finish the season, Well,
you already know how I feel about Jones. I mean, look, you got you got a grouping of quarterbacks who are asking for way too much than what they're worth, and that's.
Well, we're overpaid. They're all overpaid. Those 3 guys.
I don't like to talk about people's money, but if you're talking about the return on investment. It's not there for some of these guys, and I'm just baffled that some of these
20 and 15. So, I mean, he still had a better touchdown to interception too. I'm talking about Tua. Murray didn't even. I mean, Murray missed a ton of time. Murray's a backup in this league. Tua's a backup in this league. I said this a few weeks ago.
Daniel Jones is the
only reason he ain't been. Daniel Jones can't finish the season. He's another guy that he just cannot. These guys cannot finish seasons. They don't deserve to be paid this kind of money. Daniel Jones is really a backup too. He's good for 3 or 4 games. It's unfortunate. Not everybody's made to be a starter. So it is what it is. I think that maybe, and I've been saying this for several years now, we got to get to a point where some of these owners are saying, hey, listen, we just cannot keep paying these guys a big chunk of money just because it's air quote what the market is.
Right.
Kudos to Seattle for paying Sam Darnold what they paid him. And guys like Baker Mayfield, they got pretty competitive teams because they're not breaking the bank there. I mean, Dak Prescott, you think Dallas is going to do anything paying him $60 million, man?
Well, they're hamstrung with his contract, right? They can't get better because they have to pay him. But the thing with him is that he's actually putting out. He's been an MVP type of caliber player for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, but you only do so much if you lack all that depth.
The problem never was the offense. The problem was the defense wasn't been keeping them in the games and gave up a lot of points.
Well, they didn't want to pay. They didn't want to pay Parsons all that money.
Yeah, because they're paying Dak Prescott all that money,
and they're paying CeeDee Lamb a lot of money. Yeah. Let me look at Joe Burrow.
And the worst thing about the Cowboys is that they have median type of players that are getting high salary type of money. Yeah,
they're not high end guys,
right? And they're getting paid high, good money. So, if you do that to yourself, man, that's a GM situation right there.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I didn't like I said when they hired this Hafley guy, I don't think it's going to be a very successful hire because you're kind of strapped with the Tua situation and all that money to deal with him. That being said, Russell Wilson had a big dead cap. They hit on some draft picks. They hit on Bo Nix. And, hey, mate, what if they take Garrett Busnauer in the 3rd round and he turns out to play pretty freaking good? I mean, maybe it will work out.
Yeah,
some talks of maybe Malik, they work out and find a way to get Malik Willis down there. So
the best situation there is Chubb. Him leaving Miami, he can go anywhere, and he can go to San Francisco.
Oh, Bradley Chubb, the edge rusher.
Yeah, he can go to San Francisco. He can go to Panthers. He can go to a very competitive team, and he won't have to even look back anymore. I mean, he did what he had to do. He had a couple good seasons in Miami. He had a few injuries that held him back in a couple seasons ago, but he's worth his weight in gold, and he's going to get a good contract. And I just hope he goes to a good team this time. I hope he takes less money and goes to a great team than take more money and go to a struggling team that need an edge rusher. Because what he can do, he is a game changer. The problem is that the Dolphins were giving up was not scoring enough points, and the defense had to keep trying to bail them out.
Tennessee may sign him. He's got 8.5 sacks. I think he's still in his 20s. Bradley Chubb. I think he's a cousin of Nick Chubb, the running back. I think they're related somehow. Do you see these guys being value picks? Those quarterbacks I just mentioned.
You keep talking about those guys. I'm glad you mentioned that. We're transitioning that. I think those quarterbacks are 2nd and 3rd round picks, and those are.
Well, that's what they're slated to be, according to multiple.
That's where they should be, and they should be clipboard holders for the next 2 or 3 seasons because NIL didn't do them any justice. They should be in school for a couple more years, honestly. And
I think they're maxed out on years.
I know, because they. But some of these kids, man, they're still kids. They weren't on good teams, or they got redshirted, and then they played in a smaller conference. So, and then transitioned to a big school. So some of them, not all of them, but when you do that, you're pretty much telling people that you just went to go play somewhere, and then you went to look to compete somewhere. And unfortunately, you run out of time college-wise, like Aguilar is, and we'll talk about him in a second.
Yeah.
But I don't see any of those guys, even if they're picked in the first few rounds, to be a positive influence on any of these teams.
Yeah.
Especially with the way that the NFL is going, where the defense right now is probably some of the best that we've seen in the last 5 years. On most teams.
I just don't see how the narrative can change so fast from September all the way to the end of the season. You look at the fact, I mentioned John Elway. They never went to a bowl game at Stanford, number 1 overall pick. You look at Fernando Mendoza, nobody never heard of him, goes to a national championship team. Now he's going to be the number 1 pick. You look at a guy like Bo Nix, didn't think he would ever get drafted,
Well, you didn't think Bo Nix was going to get drafted? He got like 10 years in college.
I'm talking about when he was playing at Auburn. Yeah, he was an undrafted guy at Auburn.
Yeah, but when he went to
2 or 3 years.
Yeah, but when you went to Oregon, you saw that, this guy's going to –
That was a very good team at Oregon. That's my point. That was a very good playoff-like team. National championship level right there with the national powerhouse team. You look at Nussmeier, Klubnik, those 2 guys particularly, and now all of a sudden the teams – you got one guy had his coach fired. The other one's not really fully embracing NIL transfer portal. They fallen back. I'm talking about Clemson now with Dabo Swinney.
Right.
Who's to say these guys still don't have that talent? There had to be some type of talent seen in them by scouts. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but Robert,
September of last year, now the narrative swings so far. They're value picks, man. They still may go on a team and win a championship.
Who played better in Oregon, Dillon Gabriel or Bo Nix?
I mean, I have to go back and go look at I don't have those numbers right in front of me, man.
No, it's not number wise. Like I feel like both of these teams, like you said, was a talented team. They both had
that's probably a push if you ask me.
Yeah, but the difference is now that, and so if you see now how they play in the NFL, who's had better opportunities and playing better, Bo Nix or Dillon Gabriel?
Well, Nix, of course, because he's with a better coach. Gabriel's with an overrated Stefanski, whose offense is just,
No, so I just, to be honest with you, and I'm not a big Bo Nix fan.
He won a Super Bowl, know.
Yeah, I'm not a Bo Nix fan, but I would say that he's and his background, he's better prepared to be an NFL quarterback, starter or backup than Dillon Gabriel is.
Well, he's like a year or 2 older too.
No, I'm saying I'm not talking. If you take the age away, if you take that away and don't,
he may be a little quicker. You don't know that. You see what I'm saying?
What I'm saying is that the way Bo Nix plays, from my take from him playing in Auburn to what he was able to accomplish in Oregon, to what he's doing as a Bronco, like you actually see his potential is being met every level he's going to with every coach that's coaching him. He's the capacity is going up, and you have to take that for consideration when you see these guys coming out who are high rated quarterbacks, and they don't go in the NFL and get high and keep getting highly rated. That's why Shedeur Sanders, everybody's talking on this crap. Oh, he went to the Pro Bowl. Like, yeah, but he went out there on the field and he tried to win games, and you could see that there was a progression every game he was in there.
Yeah, and, they stripped away his whole offensive line. They cut their whole offensive line this week.
Progression is important as a quarterback and learning and getting better. And some of these kids come out highly rated. They're not, the progression is flatlining, like somebody who just lost a heartbeat. And that's not what you want to see. That's why when people ask me about Jackson Dart, I'm like, yo, after his concussion, he had those 5 losses. He was up and down, up and down. He had a quarterback rating of like 50 something for like 2 of those 5 games. Like,
yeah.
So,
The ball got him up, and he went down when the ball got fired.
Right. So
concussions didn't help, of course.
No. But and then so when you mentioned Aguilar, and we could talk about him. I think that what is going on in UT, I think it's a push for him. It'd be better for him if he stayed at UT than if
that's my next question to you. Keith Engel seemed a little bit
perturbed,
excited about it. But my thing is, junior college, you can't. There's not been a player drafted in the NFL from directly from junior college. There's not been a Heisman Trophy winner from junior college. I'm talking junior college. I think it's a developmental league. He should get that other year of eligibility. Junior college should not count. I took some developmental classes in college. That didn't count towards my major. I just had to pay for them classes to be able to get my major.
Prerequisite.
There you go. I could not remember that word because that was awful on my ACT test.
But look, I think the one thing that
you think maybe that should count. What's your take on that?
I think that the situation that he graduated from Appalachian State, I believe, isn't that right?
No, I don't know all of it.
I think he did graduate.
But he's going to court because he's saying that those junior college years should count. He should have another year of eligibility.
Right.
That's make a couple $1 million.
Right, but what's holding because of that, and the thing with the NCAA and the years of eligibility, it's like you complete the 4 years of college and you play, or you get it was written, and I don't know if it's still going by this, but my last time checking when I went in and I had to go through the clearinghouse was that you could go to a school, the NCAA, whether no matter the division, and you had 6 years of eligibility, but you had a redshirt your first year, and then you had like a quasi year if you were to transfer. And then they started changing all that up. Whatever the wording is when he first signed the paper is what he has to go by. And so if the wording was changed, but he's gone through different progressions, junior college, 4-year college, and then the transfer, he has to go by the first time when he entered the first paper he signed. And I think that's where the whole giddy up and mix up is. And he's looking around and everybody's like transferring and using the portal, and he wants to be on that he wants to be on that surfboard, but that ain't the wave that he's allowed to take. Whatever you sign for to be eligible to be recruited or to sign to a university from the clearinghouse is what you have to go by. And I think that's where the whole discrepancy is right now. However, be that as it may, if he has the eligibility available, which it looks like he might be able to stay, I would stay. If I was him, for 2 reasons. He's still got a good team at Tennessee. And using that extra year, he can learn more of a professional football type of gameplay to better himself and maybe even be a candidate for, and I'm not saying he is going to be a candidate, maybe a candidate for a Heisman and give him a better opportunity to go higher in the NFL draft.
Yeah, I think so too. And I read some stuff from the Athletic, the breakdown on that. Him with Chambliss. Chambliss is offered $5 million if he could come back to Ole Miss. Okay, he's projected to be a 3rd-round pick. Keith liked him too. To be a 3rd-round pick, you're talking $2 million for that first year as a 3rd-round pick. Aguilar would be a potential undrafted free agent, close to zero if he even gets signed, versus Tennessee's $2 million. Oh man, I really hope that these young men get that opportunity to play. But we'll see.
Well, listen, he's with the NIL and his first transfer, he's not hurting financially. What's going to hurt him is how he goes into the NFL draft, whether it be undrafted free agent. Yes, Aguilar. Yeah, whether it be a UDF undrafted free UDFA or whether you go in first 2 rounds of the draft next season. That's where he's gonna, and that's just his future as far as him counting money and him being paid for what his job is. But no matter where he goes, I feel like he needs to develop his talent a little bit more, one more season.
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and something, Tennessee would be grateful to have him,
Right.
We talked about this before. It was a battle with Tennessee and LSU to get the transfer from Arizona State quarterback. Of course, Lane Kiffin called him a psychopath, called him a total narcissist. He steals baskets from grocery stores. But, he shows up when this guy was meeting. I'm going to look him up. The quarterback at Arizona State, he shows up in Knoxville. For the before he meets up with Tennessee. Kiffin does.
Right.
To intercept. I mean, that's how kind of gritty recruiter he is. That's why he wins. He'll probably end up winning a national championship, man. But we'll see. Maybe bad karma catching or whatever. But that's an interesting storyline to follow. But Tennessee definitely needs, because they play this year in Knoxville. They need an Aguilar rather than the true freshman to compete against the guy as a quarterback. It's going to set up for a great game, man. I wish it was this weekend. You know what? I'm trying to get his name here. Remember, they were in the playoffs a few years ago. And they got a different name here. Let's see if they updated it. Let's see if we can get this name right here. God. Boy, these things are this is messed up right here, man. Transfer portal, depth chart here. Sam Levitt. Sam Levitt is who I'm thinking about. Yeah. Remember, he played Arizona State with your boy Scatterboo and whatnot.
Arizona.
They got the playoff, not this year, but the year before. Same guy, got some experience. I think this is great for college. Keith didn't like none of this stuff, but I think it's great for college. It's great for the NFL. They're more ready to play. Trinidad Chambliss, I hope he can come out next year. Look at the 27 draft, man. Arch Manning, Dante Moore from Oregon, Chambliss, Sellers, the guy from South Carolina.
Is that Florida State quarterback too? No,
the Florida State quarterback. I don't know who the Florida.
I mean, I'm sorry, Miami.
No, Beck's finally used all his. He's been in school for 20 years too. No, Beck will be out this year sometime. He'll be falling down somewhere. Sam Levitt could come out next year. You know what I'm saying? So he's considered a 5-star guy as a transfer, according to 24/7. And Tennessee, I can't believe Tennessee was that far in with him. Ty Simpson should go back. He's going to end up going somewhere. He's going to be overdrafted. He doesn't have enough starts under his belt. But it's an interesting story to follow. Tennessee will play LSU on. I don't know if they've got the. I don't know if they got the schedule out with the days yet. Let's see. I think they do, but let's double.
They got it out. I haven't. I usually copy and have it ready to go, but I'm not ready.
Yeah. Okay. So they'll play LSU. Yeah, one of my writers was telling me about this the other day. This guy from Knoxville, and he was right. November 21st, it'll be in Knoxville. Tennessee will be home to LSU. Now, that's 2 weeks from the SEC championship game. If Tennessee has a great year, game day will be there. I was hoping they would play in September, but that's not the case. But Tennessee will play Texas at home. They'll play Auburn at home. They'll play Alabama at home. But they got to play at Arkansas and at Texas A&M and at Vanderbilt, which they could lose all of them. So
We'll see, man.
That is a well of a schedule, you know. But we'll see if they can get Aguilar to come back. Maybe they can get through that schedule with 2 losses and get into the playoff. If they don't get Aguilar back, they're going to look like they did this year, maybe worse, maybe 7-5 or 6-6. What do you think?
No, I think this year, I think they're prone to have a better season. I feel like the other top-rated schools are gonna do worse, like Alabama, Georgia, LSU. I don't think they'll be, even though they're highly rated. I think they'll lose 2 or 3 games themselves. So I think Tennessee will be right there, and everybody will match up. Of course, then you have Texas and A&M. So, you know,
yeah,
I think those 2 teams will probably be in the top 5. Texas A&M. I think LSU and Georgia and Alabama will actually go down this year.
They got to play at Georgia Tech this year. I mean, Georgia Tech was pretty good last year. They don't have to play Georgia this year. You said Alabama will go down?
Yeah, I think they'll lose 3 or 4 games, and I think also Georgia will lose a few games there, and LSU as well. I don't see those particular teams, those 3 teams, being undefeated after October.
And got to play Texas and Texas A&M and Alabama. Yeah, they're going to lose about 3 games. I don't see them. Yeah, that's.
I think the SEC is going to be very competitive to come out of and get in. That playoff is going to be very crucial.
You just wonder if they're going to put some 3-loss teams in the playoffs, you know, from these big conferences. I know it's a lot. That's way ahead of time. Do you have a sleeper basketball team that could potentially get to the Final Four this year? I know it's early. You could change your mind.
No, I mean, I like that you mentioned St. John's last time. I saw the game against Providence. That was a huge fight. I'm not sure if you caught it.
Sure in the heck was.
I like the grittiness that they have. The one thing that's gonna be hard to tell is that who they're gonna get matched up with and where they're gonna fall in the dance. Where they fall in the dance, if they have to claw their way up from the middle of the pack.
Yeah,
I don't know if they'll be able to reach the Final Four.
But do you have just any kind of sleeper team? They don't necessarily have to be St. John's.
Oh, but I think Vanderbilt is going to be a sleeper team.
Okay, they just lost last night.
Yeah, I saw that, but I think they have one of those teams that can.
Missouri, I think, beat them if I'm not mistaken.
They have one of those teams that can light it up. And then I like Houston, but they're not a sleeper team. They're a really tough team.
Yeah. I think Texas Tech would be considered a sleeper team with their 6 losses. They got the hardest schedule in the country, and they just knocked out Houston the other night on Monday.
Yeah, I was that whole conference there is tough, man.
Yeah.
All their games,
that may be the best conference in the country.
Yeah, man, their games are excruciating to watch because you're like, you think a team is up by 10 and then all of a sudden they're tied and then they're down by 6 and then all of a sudden the other team's back in it. They're not. Those teams are highly competitive. If you get a chance to watch any of them play, man, they just, I like it. This basketball, it's real. It's those top.
Oh, yeah. Arizona, Houston, Iowa State, Texas Tech. That's the best conference in the country.
Yeah.
Those great this year.
I don't particularly like that conference, but it's basketball I've been watching is these in the late nights, and even on the weekends, these teams are in it to win it, and it's fun to watch. And they got all those teams got 2 or 3 guys that are NBA players.
Yeah,
it's not starting, but at least on the bench. So,
all right, man. New York. Anything else to plug, man?
Yeah, I'm working on these projects. Let's check on my. I'm putting everything on Facebook and then on different groups and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to get everything done. trying to get ready for the World Cup as well. The Olympics is going on right now. I'm catching some of those competitions. It's busy, man. Like you can get lost in the world of sports, and we're not. But I'm getting ready for March Madness, man, for sure. I'm getting all that stuff ready. I'm gonna see maybe if I could do a show with some other guys who used to play basketball on Austin P. I don't know how much I'm the best, and then maybe we should do a dance.
With the other guys there,
we do a show maybe,
Final Four show or something
like that. So because I'm right,
you could probably do one on that Wednesday before the tournament starts. Since it starts on Thursday, I don't like to do a show on that Thursday. We'll do it on that Wednesday. If the guys want to come, great. If not, that's okay too. We can compare Final Four teams and talk the tournament.
Yeah, man, it's an exciting time of year in the East.
I love it. I told Keith, I said, I think this is the best we've ever seen it. He don't like it. I love it. I love, like you said, these games are more interesting than the NBA. Yeah. That Iowa State game was great the other day against, I think, Houston. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Iowa State totally, let's go back to Saturday. They totally destroyed Kansas last Saturday. Yeah. Usually off that, it's hard for them to get up and play another big team again. Right. They came back from almost 10 down against Houston's tougher than nails to beat. To beat Houston, even though it was at home though.
Yeah, if you get a chance to watch last week's games, you're trying to catch up. Last Saturday and Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, a couple games on Sunday. That weekend was some good basketball. And you can catch up with that St. John's Providence game too. That was a good game too.
Yeah, it was a good game. Creighton knocked out Connecticut the other day. I don't know if Connecticut's that good this year.
No, all these teams, they good. It's just been more NIL's made it more and more more laid out, more
make it more competitive, yeah.
Not competitive, but more what's that word?
Parity.
More parity, yeah, it's more parity for sure. And then all these coaches, yeah, you'll see them and they get a lot of money, but man, it doesn't matter what the coaches say now. It matters who's on the bench and who they have on the court started. So
yeah, I say Texas Tech is a sleeper because they don't have a bench. I mean, 92% of their points come from their 5 starters. They get this guy JT Toppin. He might not be a big time NBA guy. Man, he's a gritty dude. And these big games that I've seen him play in, 30-something points.
He carries that team, man.
Rebounds.
He shoulders, man. He shoulders that team for sure. It's exciting, man.
You know that guy, don't you? Yeah, he's good. Man. Yeah. I was going to say something else. I forgot. But no. Yeah, you're right. Michigan. No, who's it? Yeah, Michigan and Duke will play this weekend. That's the 2 top 5 teams. We'll see how that. I know Michigan's good, but they're a little slow at guard. They're very big. I don't know if they got the guard play to win big.
The team is not as quick as it used to be. It's like an old 80s Michigan team. They just kind of like throwing the ball around and they're tough. But they're not attacking the basket like these last few years that they had guys attacking the basket. So.
Right. And they can be shot out of the gym. I mean, Wisconsin beat them. The only game I watched them all the way through. Now, if they stomp out Duke, led by Boozer, that would be impressive. I think it is in Michigan. I have to double check that. That'll be Saturday. But Mad New Yorker bringing it tonight, man.
Happy Easter season, everybody.
Stay in touch, man. We'll get back on all that stuff. All right, everybody. I'll see you next, probably Monday. I record a show. We'll go over everything that's happened, including that big game against Michigan and Duke. Have a good night, everybody. If you like the show, please share the show and make sure and subscribe to the At the Real Sports Scope with the K YouTube channel. Thank you, everybody.